Hi, I'm Dustin Pickering. Welcome to the New York Parrot Literary Corner. Today we have PJ Johnson. On Canada Day, July 1st, 1994, PJ Johnson, the daughter of a Yukon trapper, was formally invested and given the title Poet Laureate of the Yukon during a ceremony in Whitehorse and became the first officially invested Poet Laureate of Canada. As an oral and visual artist, from a northern storytelling culture, her poems, stories, plays, and songs have been televised and performed at various venues across Canada and around the world. Her creative works have been published in books and journals globally, translated into several languages, and published widely. Diagnosed with a learning disorder called nonverbal learning disorder, or NLD, in 2005, PJ Johnson encourages people with a learning disability to realize they can still pursue their dreams. Active in the arts for decades as an oral visual storyteller, mentor, and performer at various venues across Canada, Johnson is also an author, playwright, actor, musician, composer, teller of stories, and Yukon ambassador. It's if it's creative, she's probably there. Known as the Yukon Raven Lady in 2000 or in 1985, Johnson led a successful campaign to have the Northern Raven declared the official symbol of the Yukon Territory. She is a passionate animal rights advocate currently campaigning to protect the northern sled dogs. And Canada Day, July 1st, 2021, she will celebrate her 27th anniversary as Poet Laureate of the Yukon. She is the longest serving Poet Laureate in Canada. Thanks for joining us today. We're also going to do some excellent sharing of her work, her videos, and her music. So be prepared for that as viewers. And thanks again for joining us. How are you today?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Been pretty good. So, what is it like? I mean, tell us a little bit about your legacy as a poet laureate.
Well, I might speak a bit about that um, towards the end of our interview, but initially, I would like to say that thank you for the introduction and for having me here today. I'm brand new at Zoom, so a little
I'm
lost,
pretty
but
pretty close to you too as well. So it's we're both fresh. So
yeah, we'll work it out.
yeah.
Um, when I was invested, I was presented with the official poet laureate of the Yukon pin, and I wear it on the front of my Stetson, and it's still right there on my hat. And if you look behind me, there's my hat.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice.
You've probably seen a few of those down in Texas.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Stetsons, yeah. My laureateship is not a paid position, governed appointment, or program. It is a title granted in recognition of my contributions and achievements as an artist. After my investiture, I sent a fax out to the Canadian League of Poets to inquire who the other laureates were. Well, they faxed me back saying that there were none and congratulated me on being the first. And I realized I would have to define my own unique journey. I see my role as laureate as an opportunity to promote and celebrate the arts in the Yukon, in Canada, and worldwide, to essentially provide a voice for the people and a written record of the times. Now, as you mentioned in your intro, um, I'll just say that for most of my life, I suspected I was dyslexic. Until I was diagnosed with nonverbal learning disorder in 2005 and told that I was textbook NLD. And I'd never heard of it. However, NLD is an invisible learning disability that affects every aspect of my life, and in my case, translates I don't learn by reading. It's a bit like dyslexia on steroids. Comprehension doesn't come easy. And the majority of my written work is composed in lowercase and most often shared live in the traditional oral storytelling style. When I was younger, I was bullied and ridiculed, even by the teachers, told that I was stupid, and I believed it. I had to learn how to teach myself. I used to scribble my thoughts on a piece of paper and cut them into strips and lay them all on the floor and move them all around until I got them where I wanted them. Then I'd tape them back together again. That was kind of my version of a word processor. People who have a learning disability have to work much harder. There is an article about my journey as a writer with a learning disability on my website at yukonpoetlaureate.com. So
But that sounds like quite a journey there. It's amazing that you've been able to live through this and learn more about yourself and actually put a name on what was going on
yeah,
with your brain. I mean, that way you can cope with it better.
yeah.
And I find it wonderful that you're encouraging other people and using this, what would normally some people may even want to crawl into a hole and say, I can't do it anymore. You're just saying, no, I will do it. What I want to do will be what I will do.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
that's true. There's a lot of misinformation about learning disabilities, and people require accommodation, and there's many ways to cope. I took a college course for a year,
Okay.
and for people who happen to have a learning disability, and I picked up a ton of tools that taught me how to deal with this thing called NLD because I'd never heard of it, and I didn't realize that a lot of my frustrations in life were due to the fact that my brain processes new information differently than most people. When
Right.
I'm when I'm reading, like here's a copy of my book here, and when I'm doing a reading, I don't know if you can see that, but my
Right.
pages are full of highlights and underlines and hieroglyphics and whatever. And that just kind of tells me where I'm at in what I have to say. I'm not
Mhm.
necessarily reading. I may as well be holding the book like this, upside down.
Wow.
But there are ways to cope with this condition that really make things possible and make your life easier.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you're also an animal rights activist and an advocate. Would you like to tell us more about your journey as an animal rights activist?
Sure. I'm also known as the Yukon Raven Lady, and I think you mentioned that. Raven is my spirit guide, and they're the most intelligent passerine on the face of the earth. They're an amazing creature. I often use my personal platform as an artist to promote animal rights. I love animals, there's no getting around that. And I've always had a dog in my life. My mother always had a yard full of huskies and malamutes, and she also ran dog team, but never raced them. Then in 1984, the Yukon Quest ran its first 1,000-mile sled dog race here in the Yukon. And at first I thought it was kind of a cool event, until one day I watched the sled dog cross the finish line with blood coming down its chest, and suddenly alarm bells were going off in my head. There is a big difference between mushing and racing. Well, I have a poem I'd like to share, and it's called Because I Am a Sled Dog. And I wrote this poem in 2017 in honor of the many sled dogs who have suffered, been abused, and who have died as a result of being forced to run 1,000 miles in grueling conditions in long-distance sled dog racing, namely the Yukon Quest, which takes place in my homeland. Every year, at least one sled dog dies during the Yukon Quest. In 2018, Boppy the sled dog died when he choked to death on his own vomit in minus 55 degrees below zero temperatures up above Dawson City, Yukon. And the following year, another 5-year-old sled dog named Joker died the same way. One year, 4 dogs died in one race. So I'd like to share a video of a
Okay.
poem that I wrote, and it's called Because I Am a Sled Dog.
Looking forward to it.
Just set it up here.
Hmm.
Because I am a sled dog. Because I am a sled dog, I have no voice. I can only speak to you with my eyes, with my bark, and with the wagging of my tail. If I could talk to you, I would tell you that I worship you, and that my only wish is to be with you
to be loved and adored, and to be wanted for who I am. I would tell you I am a living, breathing being, much like you, that feels love and joy and pain. And if I could only speak to you in words, I would tell you all these things. I would tell you I am here to do your bidding, even if that means running 1,000 miles in a brutal race I didn't choose to run. Even if it means I might suffer and die. For you are my world, my greatest joy, and I only live to please you. I would protect you with my life if you asked me to. All I ask in return is that you love me back.
I had you on mute. If you could unmute yourself. Sorry about that. I was just as a precaution to make sure it didn't interfere with the video.
That's
That
a good plan. Yeah.
beautiful sentiments and lovely poem. And yes, definitely stop cruelty to animals and sled dogs. That's a wonderful, uh, you know, wonderful precaution. So
Well,
continuing, if you want to elaborate a little bit on the poem, or what
yeah, I would
you want to.
actually.
Yes, please do.
Um, I speak, I'm their voice here in the
Hmm.
North. I mean, they can't speak for themselves. And be, I almost laugh because being an animal rights advocate in the Yukon doesn't exactly make you popular, at
Right.
least not this one. My first petition, my first petition to expose sled dog abuse, which was signed by 2,000 people in good faith, was hacked. My book, It's Howlin' Time, which is dedicated to the plight of the northern sled dogs, was blackballed at several outlets in the Yukon. And Facebook has imposed a ban on my official website, likely due to false claims being made against me by Yukon Quest supporters. They've tried every trick in the book to try and muffle me, but as long as the Yukon government continues to fund this barbaric event that's killed over 40 dogs, I will always speak out for the sled dogs. Long distance sled dog racing needs to be banned globally. Too many dogs have died. Now, if viewers would like to join me in speaking out on behalf of the sled dogs, you can visit my website at yukonpoetlaureate.com and sign and share the petition to help raise awareness. When you speak for those who have no voice, your soul smiles.
Absolutely.
Well, that's an emotional one for me. But then when it comes to
Right.
animals and animal advocacy, you see some horrific things and you know things that you can't unknow or unsee or unhear. But you can't stop caring either because it's in there.
Right. What your nature commands you to do, it's hard not to follow. I mean, and yeah, and living creatures are in fact, a part of who we are, you know.
Yes.
So it's very important to protect people and beings that can't protect themselves or can't speak for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the creatures with whom we share this planet and they deserve our respect and our protection. Throughout my life, I've had a few hurdles to cross. And when I was 21 years old, I was told that I had cancer, and the ensuing treatments left me with lifelong radiation damage. And more recently, I suffered a brain hemorrhage. But there has always been a dog somewhere in the picture. In recovering from this last incident, I had to pretty much learn how to do everything all over again, including things like walk and play music. And that's precisely when my little medicine dog named Doc came into my life. And he was there for me every step of the way. He loved me through it all and inspired me to write the song Footprints. And I'd like to share that with you.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Word.
You came to me when I needed you. You were perfect in every way. And you made me smile and stayed a while and loved me every day. I couldn't know the joy you'd bring to me, couldn't count the times I laughed at the silly games you played with me as we walked along the path. You were my shadow, my ray of sunshine on every cloudy day. In my hour of need, you were there for me. You shared your heart in every way, and I knew you'd never leave me. We'd always walk this trail as two, 'cause I've got footprints, yes, I've got footprints, because I walk this trail with you. Oh, I've got footprints, yes, I've got footprints, I've got footprints on my heart. You are my angel boy with a waggy tail.
Hi, baby. How you doing?
To be apart, and I knew you'd never leave me. We'd always walk this trail as two, 'cause I've got footprints, yes, I've got footprints, because I walk this trail with you. One day you came and let me know that it was time to cross the bridge and go. But as I watched you leave, you could never know how much I wanted one last wish, that we would walk this trail forever, and you and I would never part. I know we'll always be together, 'cause I've got footprints on my heart. And I knew you'd never leave me. We'd always walk this trail as two, 'cause I've got footprints, yes, I've got footprints, because I walk this trail with you. I got footprints, yes, I got footprints, because I walk this trail with you.
Hi, baby. How you doing?
You muted again. Sorry. There you go. Excellent. Beautiful song. I love it. It's touching. It's the video itself and all the footage and stuff. It really brings to heart the need to protect animals. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, they're such a tremendous gift in our lives. You know, they're family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to get a sip here. Well, I have another poem I'd like to share. You'll have to pardon me clearing my throat. Right now it's pine pollen season, and it just popped here in the Yukon. We've got the midnight sun going on, so we've got 24/7 sunlight. So things are growing like crazy. You can see the
Right.
trees, you know, and it's
Wow.
wonderful. But I'm allergic to pine pollen,
Well, that's
so it turns
troubling.
my voice into a reed. So
That's funny.
can't do nothing about it. You have to wait for September.
Right. I get allergies and stuff too. It happens to me sometimes.
Well, down there in Texas, you've got a lot of, I think you've got a lot of dust and you've got a lot of flowers and a lot of stuff like that. I've been down there a couple
Pollen
of
is,
times.
oh, really? It's a nice state. I
Yeah,
like it. It's
yeah.
hot.
Oh, it's hot. It's the opposite of the Yukon in a way, because I was down there visiting my little granddaughter, and I think it was like 38 above or something like that. And we were going to get an ice cream, and we had to keep stopping in stores so I could cool down and her because they had air conditioning. Well, here in the north, it used to be like it could be 50 below in the winter. And if you were downtown, you'd deke into a shop to warm up. So,
Wow.
so it's kind of the opposite.
Hmm.
Yeah. I just love the Texan accents though. They're fascinating.
And you've got the Stetson behind you there.
Yeah, that you all accent, that
Yeah, we say y'all ready? Y'all ready?
y'all. Yeah. Well, I often say to people when I'm presenting my work, I often say Yukon howdy because I've got a Stetson on. But I'm
Uh-huh.
actually from the far north, so
Right.
there you go.
So
Um,
you
yeah.
would you like to talk about some of the struggles facing the indigenous people of the Yukon and some of the latest revelations that have come out of some of the inhumanity that's out there right now?
Yeah. That's really heartbreaking. I
Yes.
mean, my country is in mourning as we grieve the loss of 215 children found buried on the grounds of a residential school in Kamloops, BC. 215 children who never came home. As I grieve the loss of these precious souls, I reflect on my own childhood as one of those who was scooped up and taken away by the government. My brother and I ended up in the system, and the system wasn't kind. Only one of us survived. To this day, I grieve the loss of my brother. His name was Dwight. I share the following poem in honor of all who grieve. Set not your face in grief. Set not your face in grief against the wind. This death is but a word that wanders in the night, planting sorrow in the hearts of men. Cast down the seed. Set not your face in grief against the wind. I am the rose, so full of life, I cannot die. Celebrate me, for this death means nothing. I am beauty in full bloom. Set not your face in grief against the wind, for I am new and perfect, like the snow that falls around you. I, the silent miracle, sift down from heaven, knowing heaven. Set not your face in grief against the wind, for I am raven, free in spirit, soaring highly without bound. I am legend, reminding you of life, reminding you to live.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Passionate and very uplifting and powerful.
was going to say, I mentioned my brother.
Hmm?
This is a picture of my brother. His name was Dwight. He was my big brother. The
I'm
the
sorry
system,
to hear your loss. That's terrible.
I will miss him forever. He was a kind and gentle and sweet human being and gone too soon. And I'm sure, like I say, all of Canada is grieving, and perhaps people around the world as well, the loss of these sweet young people. Um, I have another video poem that I'd like to share, and it's called Time. And it's about life, love, and loss. And it shows quite a bit of my beautiful Yukon as well. And I'm always
Hmm.
happy to share a little Yukon.
Absolutely.
So I'll do that.
You're on mute. There you go. Let you
Yeah, I remember this time.
know.
Finally.
Wonderful footage there, and had everything from eagles to the northern lights to so
And
many
it's all
amazing.
right out my back door. I am so
Wow,
blessed. And I'm always happy to share it with the world because
absolutely.
the Yukon is a great place to visit. So if you ever get a chance, and your viewers, come on up. We're right next door to Alaska, so we're next to the
Right.
US too. Yep. Well, I was going to talk a little about how I came to be a storyteller, just briefly. Um, my strongest influence as an artist comes from Northern culture and my early life living on the land. And I started out as an annual performer here in Whitehorse at the Yukon International Storytelling Festival. And one day, the National Capital Commission called me up and asked me if I would write a play. So I wrote a play, and they invited me to perform it at the National Gallery in Ottawa. My play, titled Dance of the Northern Lights, opened to 2 standing ovations, and that's basically how I started out as a performer. I also helped to organize the very first Yukon Writers Festival 30 years ago, and I hosted the first Yukon Writers Open Mic as a forum for Yukon writers, including myself, to share their work. And for anybody who's just starting out to write and can't quite get up the nerve to share their work, these open mics are a great place to do just exactly that. And I took advantage of that when I was starting out too. And I actually formed one here in Whitehorse that carried on for quite a while. And that's often a really good place to start. After I became laureate, I was commissioned to write a song and perform it as a welcome to the RCMP musical ride when they made their first visit to the Yukon in 1995. I performed a song called Color Me Canadian on Canada Day, and then again in 2017 when they returned to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday. But perhaps some of my most rewarding experience was working with young people in schools throughout the Yukon. We had a great time. The kids had a great time, the teachers had a great time, and storytellers were born. I began this journey as a trailblazer, and since that time I've been delighted to see Poets Laureate continue to flourish right across this country, and I've had the pleasure of meeting many of them. It is my hope that future laureates will continue to find new ways of celebrating and supporting the arts, and I hope that I might have inspired people who happen to have a learning disability to pursue their dreams and not to allow the condition to define who they are. My book, It's Howlin' Time, is available at Max Fireweed Books here in Whitehorse and on Amazon. My videos can be viewed on my YouTube channel, and I invite viewers to visit my website at yukonpoetlaureate.com and join us on my Facebook group called Poets and Scribes Worldwide. Well, whenever I hear a wolf howl as it echoes out across the tundra, I'm reminded that I live in the middle of some of the most glorious and celebrated wilderness in the world, and I thank my Creator for putting me here to enjoy it. I'd like to sign off with my signature tune. It's a song I wrote called Howlin' Time. And I'll cue that up.
Hear it.
I've got a song that I'd like to share with you. And I'd like to dedicate this song to Grandad Miller, good old Cree man, 90 years old, who left us recently to travel to the spirit world. Well, this is a song of the spirit, and the force behind it is a vision of the Northern Lights. Native people view the Northern Lights with a deep sense of spirituality. As they flash across the sky, we think of the ancestors who have gone on into the spirit world, as well as the lost ones. People who have lost their earthly existence in a tragic way, perhaps by their own hand. It's called Howlin' Time. When the haunting howl of grey wolf cuts across the Arctic air, and you stand beneath the mountain and the frost is in your hair, and your soul is bent and bleeding, but there's nothing you can do. You're awake and yet you're dreaming, and all there is God in you. It's howling time. It's howling time. When the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again, it's howling time. It's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time. And you are part of everything, and everything is you. Yet you walk along forgotten by a world you never knew. And your life is like a season when the moon has gone insane, and it shimmers down your shoulder, comes to life and dies again. It's howling time. It's howling time. When the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again, it's howling time. It's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time. So you wander in the willows and you cut across your pain, and there's magic in the treetops and the raven calls your name, and your eyes are bright with sonnets and you wonder if you're sane, as the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again. It's howling time. It's howling time. When the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again, it's howling time. It's howling time. And there's only God in you, it's howling time. And you ask about your mother and the child that never was, as 1,000 answers leave you, but the question never does. And you reach out to your father, he's 1,000,000 miles away. He'll be gone by Monday morning, but by God he heard you pray. It's howling time. It's howling time. When the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again, it's howling time. It's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time. And you know that he is dying, and you know that no one cares, as you stumble up the mountain and the frost is in your hair, and you hunger for a reason, and you hunger for a clue, and you hunger for a season, but there's only God in you. It's howling time. It's howling time. When the spirits of the lost ones come to walk with you again, it's howling time. It's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time. When there's only God in you, it's howling time.
Beautiful song. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to, for having this platform to do it on.
Excellent. It's been a wonderful afternoon with you. I appreciated everything you shared, and viewers I'm sure will also appreciate and love pretty much everything about the programming today. So this has been the New York Parrot Literary Corner with PJ Johnson, and I'm Dustin Pickering, your host and anchor. And today was just fabulous afternoon of music and videos and poetry and visuals and anything in between. So please take a look at her rest of PJ's work. It'll be interesting. I know it will be. And if you want to sign the petition she mentioned, please do so. Get involved in that. And we are looking for 1 million subscribers. I know you guys out there want people to subscribe. So please tell others about us. Share our flyers.
And
Share everything. Share our videos. Share this video. share as many videos of ours as you can, get the word out there for us. And anybody who wants to join this on this platform as a creative mind, please get in touch with me, Literary Corner at NewYorkParrot.com. That's Literary Corner at NewYorkParrot.com. We accept donations at the PayPal.me at New York Parrot or NY Parrot. It would be PayPal.me/NY Parrot. That's our PayPal account. Anybody interested in helping us out with continuing our programming and keeping us alive and moving forward, just give us a little change there. We don't, keep doing this. We're going to keep going at it. We just need a little help from time to time. So thank you again, PJ, for joining us today. I really appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And merci, Masito.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And if there's any last thing you want to say, if you want to just plug your petition as well as your website again, feel free.
Yeah, well, people are able to access the petition from my website. So,
Okay.
and that's at yukonlaureate.com. So, the more voices speaking out for those sled dogs, the better.
Absolutely.
They need help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been a wonderful afternoon of poetry, videos, and visuals with PJ Johnson, first poet laureate of Canada.